Hello there. Welcome to our game. Pull up a seat. I'll catch you up on everything that has happened so far. I'm Garrett, by the way, but you can call me Helix. And this is the story of the Wild Misfits. Our story begins with a ragtag group of adventurers coming together to rescue a small village of Nightstone. First by a goblin infestation, then by a group of Zentarum mercenaries, known as the Seven Snakes. After defeating their leader, Zolkin Alexander, but allowing the spy Kella Darkhope to escape, the party began a much-needed long rest. After rescuing the villagers from a local goblin cave, the party learned exactly what had happened to cause such mayhem. Only a few days before, a massive castle in the sky had appeared and began raining down boulders on the unsuspecting village. Those trapped in the village and forced to stay spoke of 4 cloud giants floating down from the castle, removing the giant black runestone that sat in the square and gave the village its name, Nightstone. Spending the next few days assisting the village recover, the party began to grow closer, and decided that informing the leadership of nearby golden fields would be the best course of action. The only local of Nightstone, the party's large half-orc barbarian, Chad, said goodbye to the village that had adopted him several years ago, when he had literally been dropped on their doorstep when a portal opened up and dumped the large man out. With its owner killed by a boulder in the attack, a Tressum named Helix has taken a liking to Chad, who has begun worshipping the winged cat. Having come to Nightstone in search of the nobleman who took a family heirloom, Stevie, the sneaky gnomish sorcerer of the group, located the family heirloom, a locket from her great-great-gran, but no sign of the man who stole it to begin with. Stevie has also befriended an animal of Nightstone, a beautiful white horse that she has named Sea Monkey. The visit to Nightstone was far from what Lorelei had in mind, however. With the village inn often attracting nobles and having premiered a number of talented bards, she had anticipated this to be the start of her performing career, but instead became embroiled in this madness. Often serving as the party's voice of reason and the leader of their democracy, she presents herself as a lovely elven female, but seems to be able to change her appearance a bit more easily than others. Mysterious and broody, Zevin looks like a human male, with white hair and clothing, though he spends much of his time wild-shaped in the form of a large white wolf, keeping a perimeter of safety around the party. His motivations and goals have always remained something of a mystery, but he has remained a true and loyal friend to the party from the very beginning. Just as the party was about to leave Nightstone, another massive castle arrived right over the village. With the entirety of the village looking to the party for guidance, they steeled themselves for some kind of fight, as a set of stairs, normal-sized stairs, led from the cloud-top castle all the way down to the ground. And instead of a fight, the party discovered an unlikely ally. Slightly crazy cloud giant wizard named Zephyros, who informed the party that through his constant use of the commune with other planes spell, he has figured out exactly what has been going on with the world and why the giants have started acting up. He states that the Allfather, Anam, has shattered the ordning, a hierarchical system that keeps the different races of giants in check, as the lower ranks must answer to the higher ranks. Without this ordering, the different giant races have taken to trying to prove themselves to their god, in hope of increasing their rank should this ordering ever be reforged. Zephyros assured the party that they alone are able to restore this ordering, though he cannot reveal too much, in fear of changing the outcome. With this knowledge in hand, Zephyros escorted the party to their next destination, Golden Fields. The party wasted very little time contacting the leadership of this massive farming community. After discussions with all of them, the captain of the guard, a half-orc named Strong Thunderblade, assured them that Golden Fields is safe and well protected. The fat and lazy captain ate those words that very night, as Golden Fields was beset upon by a raiding army of goblins, hobgoblins, and ogres. Locating the leadership of this army, a pair of hill giants named Og and Lob, who proved to be incredibly stupid and easy to fool, the party tricked the pair into sending the army home. They then interrogated the two giants before dispatching them. Now making a name for themselves, literally calling themselves the Wild Things. Well, not exactly the Wild Misfits. Not exactly the Wild Misfits. You'll just have to figure that part out for yourself. The Misfits also gained a member during the defense of Golden Fields, in the form of a goblin. Not a member of the attacking army, but some kind of miracle of Shantae. Being delivered to the doors of the abbey in the city by a pair of young black bears, Chuck is constantly struggling to find his place in this world of humans, elves, dwarves, and halflings. An older goblin, he has devoted his life to Shantae in honor of the abbot and acolytes who nursed him back to health. Though often quick to anger, Chuck is even quicker to defend and heal his new allies, who have accepted him with open arms. Deciding on an overland escort of an ally that the party had made during the defense of Golden Fields, the Misfits unexpectedly found themselves working for the Zentarum. A fairly powerful individual within the Zent named Nalaskul gave them a seemingly meaningless task of delivering a large keg of whiskey from Barge Right Inn northward to Moribund Shield. Sensing that saying no to this individual was not an option, the Misfits decided on a compromise. Noticing that Kella Darkhope herself had taken refuge in this inn, the party agreed to escort the whiskey if Kella would accompany them. Nalaskul agreed with a perverse sense of delight. With a few days of travel filled with tension, the Misfits were split on what to do with Kella. Several had intended to simply kill her in the night, punishment for her suffering, the suffering that she caused the citizens of Nightstone. Others had a more diplomatic approach, and after a couple of small villages, it seemed that any direct hostilities between Kella and the Misfits had been put aside for now. Arriving at the next big settlement, the city of Tribor proved to have a large number of things that interested the party. Several Misfits visited a local tattoo shop and got inked. Others visited the famous blacksmith Gilrand Foehammer. The Misfits were spread out far across the town when terror struck, in the form of a mated pair of fire giants and a small strike force, consisting of axe-beak-mounted orcs, a collection of urogs, and several fiery magmen. The battle was fierce, and several of the party were injured. But, with a well-worded use of the suggestion spell, Lorelei managed to convince the giants to retreat, but not before revealing what they were in search of. Pieces of a great construct from the times of the war between the giants and the dragons long ago. The giants' leader, Duke Zalto, desired these scattered pieces in hopes that it would exalt fire giant kind beyond their previous station. The confrontation also revealed some long-held suspicions that Lorelei had of Zevin and his involvement throughout her life growing up. The two exchanged some words, and a few spells were thrown Zevin's way. The connection between the two of them appears to be more and more apparent, even as their trust in each other fades. Using the giant's own device to locate the pieces of the construct, the Misfits discovered a large rod of pure adamantine deep within the heart of Tribor that had once belonged to this mechanical menace. Worried about a retaliation, they instructed Foehammer and the other blacksmith of Tribor to break down the piece as quickly as they could, hoping that if the giants did come back, they would at least leave empty-handed and possibly consider it a waste of time. Receiving a few more quests, the Misfits decided to continue on their way and finish with the delivery of the whiskey. During the battle, Kella had been noticeably absent from the beginnings, but after several rounds, revealed herself to have taken the whiskey and the brothers that drove the wagon to safety after she noticed the giants attacking. This had a great impact on the party and on Kella, who continued to soften as she traveled with the Misfits. Her interactions with Lorelei seemed to have the greatest impact of all. The city of Yartar saw the party split from the brothers and Kella, who agreed to complete the delivery in their stead and ensure that they received their payment as quickly as they could. Kella also revealed that she intended to take a bit of a break from the Zentarum, perhaps traveling with these bumbling brothers for a little bit longer. Yartar also saw Stevie and Chad discover a shared goal, a mission that could quite possibly be even more important than saving all of Faerun itself. Finding a way aboard the splendid riverboat, the Grand Dame, after the pair were denied for their dress and weapons. But between the two, they have hatched a scheme that, in their minds, is guaranteed to get them on board. All they need is time. Continuing on to Nornan's Hold to complete a delivery, the party was extra cautious. The rumors of this place did not paint it in a very welcoming light, especially to individuals like Chuck, who was extremely nervous about this visit. With a fairly good disguise from Lorelei, the party quickly dropped off their delivery, a set of 5 horse harnesses, though Chad and Zevin could not help themselves but to peek inside and see what types of horses these harnesses were used for. To their shock, they did not see horses, but undead horses. Clearly once war horses in a time, but now clean and white bone, animated to move just like a horse. Quickly deciding that this was not something that they wanted to engage in, the Misfits received their payment and quickly left the strange collection of small cottages of Nornan's Hold, but not before letting some allies know of the strange findings that they had. Resting for the night, the party chose Stevie and Chad to keep watch for a portion. Unfortunately, Chad fell asleep, and Stevie was engrossed in Sea Monkey, as he had gotten a new harness in Tribor and was looking very handsome. But she did not notice the fire giant and his 2 magmen that had approached the camp. The battle quickly began, and Chuck enchanted the giant and his magmen with an insight greed spell. Though the party quickly learned that this did not mean victory, as another fire giant emerged from the forest, quickly approaching them. The battle was fierce, and Chuck took several boulders directly to his face, and the party heard yet another giant coming through the woods in the opposite direction. Deciding that it was time to run. But to their surprise, a frost giant burst from the forest, instructing them to run, that he will hold back the fire giants. But this giant didn't know who he was talking to, as the Misfits quickly re-engaged and used several of their abilities to enhance the attacks of their new giant friend. Chad even engaged in a few combo attacks with the frost giant. Fighting fiercely and almost killing the frost giant, the 2 fire giants eventually proved no match for the combined strength of the Misfits and the frost giant. With many of the party and this friendly giant seemingly with many of the party and this frost giant, seemingly very injured, he collapsed into a seated position and dropped his massive battle axe in a sign of peace, introducing himself as Harshnag. A few members of the party recognized this name as a member of an almost forgotten adventuring party known as Grey Force. What this frost giant is doing now and why he has decided to help the Misfits remains to be learned. So, please join us here on Twitch tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern and see what this giant has in store and what is next for the Wild Misfits. Thank you very much.